Hello everybody, as the Shinkansen whizzes by, I want to make a video for my friend Tremont, who asked me probably one of the best questions I've ever been asked on this channel. Basically, he wrote to me on Twitter and said, what about, how do you foster the will and the courage to strike out on your own in life? And I think that's a wonderful question. I'd like to try to address that. Basically, I'm going to begin with an example from my experience as Softy Papa. Over on the Softy Papa channel, I made a video earlier this year with the title something to the effect of exploring in remote places or something like that, where I was talking about how to get off of the main trails and explore more off the beaten path, wilderness types of areas, which is an anxious thing to do. I mean, it causes some anxiety for me even as well, as much as I've done it. And what I basically said in the video was that you do it in stages. You know, if you're here in Japan, the main roads lead into farm roads, which lead into remote trails, which lead into nothing. And what I typically do when I'm exploring in a new area is I go to park my car somewhere by the start of a farm road, and maybe spend a day walking, several kilometers up the road. And it's a new area. There's nobody up there. There's certainly bears. There's boars. All the types of things like that. So I'm a little bit anxious, but I get comfortable with the area. I do it at a leisurely pace and spend a lot of time coming back slowly, basically making an initial foray into a new territory. When I come back a couple of weeks later, I'll make haste to get back to this point that up the road to where I stopped before, and then I'll do the same thing, a slow pace again, up to hopefully the end of the road, which these roads typically go only a couple of kilometers. And then I'll go back to the car, and I'll have two forays into a new area under my belt. You see where I'm headed with this? The third time I'll come up, and I'll make haste to the end of the road, and then from there I'll strike off into the deserted trails, or the no trail at all, the true wilderness area, and I'll begin exploring that area. Most of my explorations as Softy Papa typically happen in a relatively limited area, but it's an area that I've spent so much time in. I've made so many forays from so many angles that it's a very comfortable area, and I can go off into very remote parts of the wilderness with a great deal of comfort because I've been there before, and I made my way slowly into that area. Likewise with if you weren't raised to be independent, and some of us were raised to be independent. That's how basically our parents had it in mind to kick us out of the door, and so the process is easier. But if you weren't necessarily raised that way, or if your character is one that you prefer comfort and safety, and that comes down to sometimes people are just different, right? Some people get a thrill out of skydiving. Some people would rather not do that. Likewise, some people enjoy the thrill of the sense of danger of striking out on their own in life, and some are a little uncomfortable with that, and that's okay. But if you're like that, and you're a little bit uncertain about it, then maybe take the approach I just gave regarding hiking. Make the steps in gradual. Make the journey in gradual steps. Maybe if you're living at home and you don't have a job and you don't have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulder, maybe the first step is to get a job and get some money coming in. A second step would be basically it comes down to carrying weight. That's what independence is all about. Carrying your own weight, and maybe carrying the weight of others that need you. So if you want to strike out on your own, get that job first, and you may have to put your ego aside a little bit. It may not be a job that you necessarily want. I've washed plenty of dishes in my life, and I've wiped plenty of butts in my life, and I have no aversion to that. I don't feel it doesn't degrade my pride, because I believe honest work is honest work. The only type of work that would make me feel uncomfortable is if I was doing something dishonest. I go 2 trains. So get a job, even if it has to be a service field job. And maybe the first step you could do is to begin helping out. If you're still living at home, begin to help out around the house. Take on some of the responsibilities. Maybe tell mom and dad you're going to pick up the electricity bill, or the water bill, or the phone bill, and that's going to be you're going to be contributing in that capacity. Or maybe take a part of the rent, or maybe the whole rent, or the mortgage, or whatever you can do. Probably take it gradually. Don't, like I said before, don't jump out too fast. You can really get out too fast and get over your head and get spooked away. I've done that. I've gone to new areas in the woods and headed out into deep areas and got pretty spooked out there. Didn't want to go back there again, and I haven't gone there again. So do it in stages. Begin to pick it up, and then you see where this is headed. begin to try to build up a little bit of savings, preparing to make a gradual step further and further on your own. Getting out, if you're afraid to move far away from home, if you've never lived out of your immediate neighborhood, get a small economy apartment near your family, someplace that you can come home for Sunday dinner, and then begin to assimilate, begin to bring on the burden of life onto your shoulders. Now, remember that weight is going to be a twofold benefit, and well, it's a benefit. It really is a benefit in twofold. One-fold is that, if I can say one-fold, the one thing is that it's going to make you feel better about yourself. The second thing is it's going to be difficult. It's hard carrying this burden. There's lots of days I don't want to go to work. There's lots of days I'd much rather be doing something else. There's lots of times that I resent the responsibilities that I've incurred upon myself. I've taken these things on, but nevertheless, that's the case with all of us. Ross Sexton, I read on on Alistair Humphrey's website the other day that like 90% of people feel like their job is not their calling. That's just the reality of things. Very few of us actually get to live our passion. So that's okay. Get ready to accept that fact and live with that, and counterbalance that with the comfort and the sense of independence and the sense of pride that you'll have in living on your own. So I guess that's the steps that I wanted to say. Is make it in stages. Begin the process. Don't slow down once you get started. And remember, and temper the ego, and discomfort. Remember that it's not going to be easy ever until you're done. It's always going to be difficult, but the rewards are well worth it. I hope that that's helpful to you, my friend, and I look forward to hearing from you, and maybe let me know how things go as you begin to make that endeavor out on your own. And when you make it out there into the deep wilderness and begin to see the things that no one else has ever seen or never seen it from another perspective quite like yours, I can't wait to hear what you discover. Okay, take care, my friend. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.